They say health is wealth. But these days, we see heartbreaking stories where a woman who looks healthy, successful, attending to meetings, driving to work, and then in a moment, she suddenly slumped and the outcome is tragic. This raises an important question. Why is our health negotiable? To every woman leaders, entrepreneur, professionals, executives, why do you prioritize everything health and put your health at the bottom list? What is the cost of neglecting your health in pursuit for success? Stay tuned as we unpack this conversation. Welcome to another episode of the Speak With Her podcast. My name is Ola Miriam. You can call me Miro the Talker, and I am excited to be your host on today's episode titled Beyond the Hustle: Why Mental Health is Non-Negotiable for Women Leaders. Is this your first time tuning in? This is a space where we invite women from diverse fields and professions to inspire, empower, and educate the next generation, especially young girls who aspire to make a difference in today's world. Joining me as always is my amazing co-host, which will be joining us later in the day. And in the studio today, we have an exceptional psychologist, the one that uses making a difference for mental health advocacy. She's here to share an insight on how and why mental health is non-negotiable for every woman leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Ma'am Osoba Gbemisola. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, ma'am.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. It's truly, truly appreciated, and it's an honor to be here to lend my voice to this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you for joining in. And we are expecting to learn from you. So before we dive into the conversation, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Gbemisola, has introduced, and I work as a psychologist. I also work with a private practice called INDD, where we provide therapy services to people, and I have my own private practice too. Aside that, I create content about mental health. I try to go beyond speaking about theories and make it something that is understandable to everyday people, and try to just create more insights and help people around that. So that's basically what I do as a psychologist.
Okay, you're welcome, ma'am. So, in your practice as a psychologist and a mental health advocate, now, what is the most common pattern you see in high achieving women who are quietly burning out? And have you caught yourself living in that pattern? Because you just said multiple jobs now, you just splitted multiple jobs that you are doing. That means you are a content creator, you're a mental health advocate for a private firm, and for yourself as well. How are you managing all of those things together?
Okay. So in what the question that you ask is something that is very, very common, right? Especially in this time and age where time is moving very fast. Everybody wants to be productive. Everybody wants to be tagged as be an high achieving person. So for women, one of the mistakes that I've noticed is where they tie their worth to what they have been able to do or what they have been able to accomplish. So, okay, so I've been able to become a manager in this organization. This shows that I am working hard. This shows that I am useful. This shows that I am somebody. But then gradually, it means that they are tying their worth to something that is not stable. Let's say the organization closes up and they have to start from scratch. How are you going to deal with that reality? So it means that your what is not what's in them. I'm using a transit term, pardon me. Like you're not now seeing yourself as someone that is useful because the object that you used to measure your usefulness was your job, your talent, your gift. And sometimes even I myself, I found myself in a situation like that before where I had to go back. That's one thing about being a psychologist. While you're having sessions with people, you yourself will reflect, am I practicing what I tell people? I realized there was a point where I had to take a pause from content creation because I realized that I was tying how far my work was to how much content I was able to push out, how much people were able to say, oh, this was helpful for me, this was able to change my life. I was tying it entirely to it and had to take a pause and actually realize that there's more to me beyond what I do. There's who I am as a person. My name is Gbemi. This is what I love to do. These are other things in my life that are good, that are going apart from that. So I had to shift my focus from those things and actually find, even be in tune with myself at that moment, that what am I feeling at that time. And yeah, so many times, and the thing is, it's easy for you to burn out when you put your words in things that you do, because you're going to be damn, I have to do more. Because what I did yesterday, I have to do more to beat yesterday to show that I am being better, I'm achieving better, and things like that. But that's the opposite. You are going to burn out. And many times people think that burnout is you not being able to do anything. But burnout many times shows up in you doing too much to the extent that you are tired, but you're still trying to show. People will not say you're being resilient and tough. No, you're actually burning out, basically. And so that's one of the mistakes I've seen I achieving women like being.
Thank you so and I feel like any high achieving woman that is listening, that is watching this video, will definitely be resonating with this piece, because this line, I saw it captivating. That moment where people will be telling you that keep on doing it. You're a resilient woman, and inside of you, you are burning out. That means you are not recognizing the person that you are. You just said that you are being. So, has there been any moments where you sat down and asked yourself, who are you really? What is more to you than this work itself? Are you really putting your energy in your own identity apart from the work, apart from who you are working for? So thanks for that response, ma'am. As a psychologist, from what you said again, you said you actually gotten to a point where you asked yourself if what you are preaching, if you are really practicing what you are preaching. Now, I see
Mm-hmm.
it as helping somebody. Now you're not asking yourself, are you helping yourself as well? And this brought
Yeah.
this question. As a psychologist, you are often the one holding space for everyone else's mental health. We all know that you are a mental health advocate. So we know that that means someone else's mental health will be your priority. But have you ever thought
Mm-hmm.
that you hold this space for me? Who hold this space for your own mental health? Has there been any moments where you see yourself in that position?
Yeah, okay. Okay. Maybe when I started practicing, that's when I found myself in that kind of situation. So, the thing is, what I've realized is that I can't save everybody. One, that's thing, because one thing about practicing is that sometimes you'll be like, oh, maybe I should have done better for this person. Maybe this person's life wouldn't have turned out this way if I just put this and this. But you need to know that everybody has a mind of their own. That was one thing I've put in place. And secondly, the fact that I can't pour out of an empty cup. So it means that if I have to show up for people, right, in my practice, it means that I also have to have something inside, like strength within, for me to be able to show up for other people. So what I always ensure is that I actually take time off where I actually stay in tune with myself, and I actually have support systems, like people I talk to about myself, people I talk to about the things that stresses me out, people that I actually just share the burden that I am bearing inside with, because it's not easy for you to just be there trying to act all tough and mighty and things like that. I've accepted that that's not true. Even I myself have a therapist, because psychologists have their own therapist. Yeah, I even have mine. Just I ensure that I even engage in hobbies, things that just makes me feel happy. Just like, because you can't, because those are things I would recommend for my clients. So it would be weird if I'm not practicing or having my own life, like it's reflecting any of all these things that I'm sharing. So those are things I actually do privately for myself to just make me be that person that I am for my clients.
So thank you so much for that response. You just said something. You said, how do you heal from all of these mental health pressure? You said those some things like doing what you love, doing what will make you happy, like your hobbies and every other thing. I see
Mhm.
this as a treatment for those that will come to you, that will seek for mental health advocacy, advice, and all of that. And then you definitely said these are the things that you recommend for your patient, as in for your clients as well. So that is very nice. So we all know that this word of I can do it, you can do it, for me, it's actually good on paper, but it depends
Mm-hmm.
on you. It depends on the environment that you are in. You cannot
Mm-hmm.
tell a novice that is just being introduced. Maybe like for example, an entry manager or worker now being introduced to being a managing director. You are not telling that person that you can do it. How do you
Mm-hmm.
expect him or her to do it? Because she's new to the environment, to everything.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
what is so what is that piece of mental health advice that sounds good on paper, but that you found that this doesn't actually work in a real high pressure environments? It sounds good on paper, but it doesn't work real in high pressure environments. So what are those things that mental health advice? And you yourself, don't you are just telling that person.
Okay. Well, when we are as psychologists, when we're in sessions, right, and we're recommending advice, or well, we don't call it advice because we don't give advice, but when we're making recommendations to our clients, one of the things we do is that we need to ensure that the recommendations match the person's reality. But one of the recommendations that I feel like people can misplace is, for example, when we say set boundaries, right? Now, there's a part of setting boundaries in family. You have control over that, right? But the one is when you carry that setting boundaries to workplace, because we need to look at the work culture. If it's outside the country now, if you can tell your manager that no, this is outside work hours, you don't do this, you don't do that. But here in Nigeria, if you talk to someone who has authority at some point, if you don't look at the work directly, you might end up jobless, not having a job. So you tell, you're not going to text me at this time. So just imagine if I tell that to a client, even the client in the session will know that Gbemi, you're boboing me because we both know I can't do that, right? So those are one of
Okay.
the I'm saying it's not because I know a normal psychologist, if the client talks about their work dynamic, would not recommend that. But because of someone is seeing it like, oh, psychologists, they say we should set boundaries, they can see that. And so that's one of the unrealistic things. But many times in situations like this, we would say that we look at that person's reality. What are the things that you can do that will not end up in trouble? So that setting boundaries part, people used to misuse it and go and carry it to another place. So that's like one I would say that people used to actually do. People used to do that one.
Okay. Thanks so very much for that. I feel like somebody that is in that position can actually relate to this because when you
Mm-hmm.
are telling your senior manager, you are telling him or her that no, this time is not, you're not supposed to be sending me an email by this time. The person will check it first. We check the name first that am I sending am I sending it to the correct person? Like, do you have an
Mm-hmm.
authority over my power? Something like that. And that those are the things that are affecting us. I feel like if you're in high position and you are doing all of this, let's just have a time. Let's set boundaries for our
Mm-hmm.
employees. It's not every
Yes,
time
we
work,
should.
work, work.
Yeah,
Please,
yeah, we should.
health be a high priority for them. Sometimes you can even go to them, have a conversation with them. It's not about work. Yes. So moving on, as this podcast it is meant for girl children, especially girl children who aspire to make a difference. And I see different girls that are looking up to their mothers, to their fathers, that are in high achieving position. They see them as someone that doesn't have time for them. They see those career as something they cannot go into because my mom doesn't have time for me. So definitely this is not for me. So this brought this question. If you could interrupt one thought pattern in young girls before they even start building their careers, what would it be? And why that's one?
Okay. There was something that you said that I need you to repeat. You said before reading this question, you said maybe they saw their mom not having time for them and then they said maybe this is
Exactly.
not for me. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Seeing
Okay.
a career of
Okay.
their parents
Mm.
as a maybe, okay, I'm not doing this because this is affecting my mom's mental health. She doesn't have
Mm.
time for me. In fact, she's not
Mm.
even, sometimes she cries alone. All of those things that will actually push the girl child from not going to whatever she wants to do. So what
Okay.
is that you'd want to interrupt?
Okay, so I like the angle that you came from, because many times where it's not only even the young girls that are having the issue, you would see family members that have experienced something like that, and they'll tell their daughters that no, be a stay-at-home home, so you have time for your children. Don't be like this person, this your auntie that is always working, 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 and then it kills their dream. One thing I would
Mm.
like to interrupt is that the thoughts that you can balance everything, that everything has to take 50-50. When we're saying that, because in that place now, the person is working, not having time for their family. You need to know that there's a place of balance. And balance does not mean that you're giving everything the exact amount of time and energy. Balance works with prioritization. So this individual has to know this fact that this person, now, for example, when you're at work, you work. When you're at home, you do home things. You actually focus on your family. That's one of the things that as Nigerians we don't do, because we want to be, first of all, we want to be very productive. So I want to be working, working, so that people at work will know that I can do this, I can do that. But then you lose sight of your family. Right. So there are sometimes where your family will come before work, and there's sometimes where work comes before family. I want them to know that they can actually balance it. So, for example, there was one example that I was at a conference that the woman shared. She said, let's say that, but this one is a man. Why isn't a man example? Now, let's say a man, your wife is pregnant, you're going to work, right? And your wife calls you and says that she's craving um elephants. Just one round up to she's craving that you should bring it to the house urgently, but he's in a meeting with a board of directors. He knows that, wife, you hold that craving first, to wait small, come in. Like, he's in a meeting with the board of directors, can't leave them. But let's say now that he's in a meeting with the board of directors again, and his wife is in labor, and they're calling for the hospital. You know that it's your wife that you carry first before that. You would actually ask for excuse. So there's a place of balance. You need to prioritize which one goes first before the other. There are many times where people they find themselves in that situation. Regardless, if you like, I want to die, I will not leave this meeting, I will not leave this work. Now you will not have the other people now dealing with that resentment that, oh, they care about their work, only their work. So I need that girl to sit down and focus and think that I can balance it. And how would she balance her home and also her dreams? Because it is possible for her to do both, right? And not get exhausted. The other thing is people pleasing, because in Nigerian families, we always like, oh, you should not say no to people, always say yes. But the thing is, if you're always saying yes to people, which energy will you use to deliver those yeses? So I need you to do this, yes, I will do this. At work, I need you to do this, yes, I will do it. Even when it is not your role, it's not your job role. At home too, I need you to do this, say yes. You're one person. Learn to actually say no sometimes. That I'm sorry, I can't do this at the moment, but I can do this later, or can I help you with something else? Because this one I can't do it. Learn to say no, and actually learn to actually have rest, because many people do not do that at all. So as a young child, I know that why I'm saying this is because there are many people who they grew up in homes where they are not allowed to rest. After school, why are you sitting down watching TV? Why are you even lying down on your bed? There's plates to wash, there's house to sweep. Go and do your work. Oh, yeah, mommy, I've swept, I've cleaned, and go and do something. You cannot just be sitting down. So it makes it hard for people to know that they can rest even when they grow up into adulthood, because they feel restless when they are resting. So I want the young girl to also know that she's allowed to actually rest, like take time off things and just focus on herself alone. And also, lastly, she should not be scared about disappointing people. Like, it's normal. People will have expectations from you, and it's not your job to meet up with their expectation, especially if it's not something you're interested in. There are people who, right now, we can see everything is going into tech. There are people who their parents' expectation was like, why are you always on this computer? Go and learn carpenter. Go and learn plumbing. Go and learn this thing. But they wanted tech. Now tech is flying. Now everybody's like, tech, tech. But those people that they were pushing to go and do because their parents had that expectation from them, always know that don't be scared to disappoint people, because people's expectations will be based off what they know about you at a particular period of time. And sometimes you have evolved. Sometimes you have even gone to the next stage, but they are not aware. And sometimes they can't even comprehend that you have evolved, and they are still thinking about you like yesterday version. So it's important, don't be scared. As a young girl that wants to be ambitious, that wants to be achieving great things, please don't be scared to disappoint people, because you go to environments that will expose you to different information and knowledge. And the people that are having their expectations, they have not been there. They don't know what you have seen. They've not known the kind of vision that you have. And some people are like, this is too big. Think this way. Don't be scared to disappoint people. That's what I would say lastly.
Thank you so very much for the addition. I really love that. And this is what is intriguing about what you just said. You just said get for disappointing someone. So we all know that our parents have high expectation of you as a girl child. You know that, oh, I want to be this for somebody. I want to be that for somebody. But have you ever sat down, focus on yourself and ask what is really working for yourself? What
Mm-hmm.
really makes you happy and how you can actually build that career that you'll be able to have time for all of these things. You all know that family first, then work can come later. Even though the hustle is real, but the health too is also real. The health is real as well. So as a young girl, please don't be scared to disappoint
Mm-hmm.
anybody. Just be yourself and work for the things that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you said something about doing what makes you happy whenever you are being restless or you think that you are not really prioritizing your mental health. You know, those period whereby you feel like I'm helping somebody and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not helping myself. Now this question is for you. I want to talk about emotional resilience. What
Mm-hmm.
does resilience looks like in a day-to-day activities? You- Not the Instagram version, which we know that it is the content creation one, whereby you come and smile and do all of those things. Now it's beyond that.
Okay. Sometimes I
Can
think I
you?
created, yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you. But I think I created a video about it where sometimes people think that resilience is you suffering and smiling. So fire is burning, you are sitting on fire, but you should be smiling as the heat is hitting you. But that's not how resilience works. Resilience is your ability to adapt to the situation that you find yourself in. And in the video that I created, I spoke about the fact that it's like carrying a weight, right? So this weight is heavy on your back. But normally people would think that resilience is you just always carrying the weight that way like that. So you are to go to a particular place, you go back and forth with the same weight, with the stress and everything, and just adapt to it like that. But that's not it. Resilience is you finding a way to make that weight less stressful for you. So you're able to carry it, but it's not heavy on you. You have found a way to make it lighter and for you to deliver at that place that you need to get it to. So there are two different things. You're not suffering. You're creating ways to cope with that situation and manage it. And that's one way. So emotional resilience, many times people think that it's them ignoring their emotion. So you're not ignoring your emotion. And the psychologist, one of the things I would say is that your emotions are signs. Your body is telling you something. Your mind is telling you something. You feel angry. Why do you feel angry? That means you feel like the person treated you in a way that you shouldn't be treated. So you need to explore that information. So how did the person treat me? And why did it evoke that emotion of anger? You feel sad, you need to explore it, but many times people do not. And when you do not explore it, how are you going to adapt? How are you going to adjust the emotion? How are you going to work with the information? So they just usually just ignore it, and then it now compiles, and then you see people that are very irritable, people that are very angry, people that they're just stressed out, or sometimes it gets to the point where they are no longer feeling anything, and they're like, finally they are there, but you not feeling anything pata pata, it means that your body is even telling you a bigger thing, that it has piled up to the extent that there's nothing again. So what I would say is when it comes to emotional resilience, you are actually sitting down to analyze what you feel. You're not scared of approaching how you feel. You're actually sitting down. Many people have not done that in their entire life. You sit down and you ask yourself, how do I feel today? Why did I feel that way? What happened? How can I work with this? Not how can I fix it? How can I work with it? You sit down. So, okay, what are the things that must have contributed to this? All this information is important because you realize that if you're not aiming to fix it, because sometimes, let me give you an example. Someone is sad. They're like, oh, I'm sad. Let me just order pizza. Let me order something nice and eat. But you do not address the reason why you're sad. You are trying to fix the problem. How will you fix something that you don't know? So it is cocoa of your race. If you want to work on resilience, emotional resilience, have full understanding of your emotions. Sit down with the data. It helps when you have full knowledge of what you're feeling, it helps you navigate better and it makes it much more easier for you. And the thing is that it prepares you for situations where you might meet yourself there again. You would be more prepared because you have been able to adapt to such situation that you have method to navigate without going through the same stress all over again. That's what I would say about that situation.
Okay, I think I will rephrase that question because I'm not satisfied with that response. So what I'm trying to
Okay.
say is that how do you cope with
Mm-hmm.
emotional resilience? Like, what do you do? What are the things that you do whenever you feel like you are emotionally stressed? So that is
Okay.
what do you do? How can you use yourself? How can you use yourself as an example for others?
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
somebody
I
is
see what
actually
I mean.
exactly.
Okay. So it's still the same thing that I said basically, but I'm just going to put
Okay.
to me. Oh yeah. So
Okay.
what I said before was that for you to practice emotional resilience is that you need to understand the emotion. If I find myself in a situation where, let's say, I'm stressed, I would sit down to analyze my emotions and be like, why do I feel stressed? When did I start feeling stressed? So it makes me, that means it means that I will have to go back in time, like, okay, when did I start feeling this? What particular incident happened? Okay, so this is what led to this. So this is the emotion I'm feeling. And why am I feeling that emotion? The process of me analyzing all these things brings clarity for me. So it means that I am able to solve the issue when I'm able to identify. And the thing is that sometimes emotions will just go, and the process is very long. Sometimes you just be like, "Ah, I beg. You just don't want to face it because there are some truths that you find. But that's what I do, basically. And I take time off, literally, where I just sit there and I'm not doing anything. Just sitting down, looking at the ceiling, and I'm just looking around my room. Like it's just a way for me to calm my mind because when you are stressed, your body's on hyperactive mode. So your mind is just looking for something. Like it's already stimulated. So I try to not overstimulate myself by actually letting my mind be blank. Like I intentionally try to make my mind blank, like there's no thoughts going on. I can picture, for example, I can picture myself fanning something. So it's like breathe in. I'm picturing myself like controlling my breath, breathe in out. So that's what my mind is focusing on. It just helps me stay calm, especially when I'm dealing with stressful situations. And then I take breaks, especially when it's something that you can't escape. You can at least try to take break from that situation. For example, let's say I have a training that takes an entire day and I'm tired. So a few hours, then after a few hours, I take a stroll around, try to change my environment a bit, breathe fresh air, then go back, take a break back out, then go back in. Those are ways. And I stay hydrated. Make sure I drink a lot of water. It helps you a lot with dealing with stress. And lastly, I talk to people. Like have someone that you talk to about the situation. Oh, I had a stressful day. Oh, the person asks, how what happened? Like you connecting with someone, not looking at social media. That one is not connection. Like talking to somebody, talking kuru, it makes the stress actually lessen a lot. So those are things I do.
Thank you. Thank you for that. It's actually conversation do works. Conversation because it is a moment whereby you release all the burdens inside of you. You are trying to converse with the person. You are trying to release everything. You know, the moment you are releasing it, the moment you are feeling less stressed. So thank you for
Yeah.
the addition. So, and this is the last question, which is why do you call yourself mad psychologist? What is the story behind making a difference?
Okay, so that's busy. I call it like making a difference. It's like I'm making a difference, but usually when we hear the word mad, we it's because of the stigma, Sha.
Okay.
I saw it
Sorry,
through
can I see? Okay, what makes you different from other psychologists? Let me just put the question like that. What makes your own work different from other psychologists?
well, uh am I different? I don't think I'm different from other psychologists, honestly. I just think that the only difference is that I create a lot of content, and I know that many psychologists do not create content. They stay in their practice, just have sessions. But for me, I just have that need that it's not only one-on-one people that should have access to the knowledge that we have, that I can actually share the knowledge with the entire world. And that's even one of the reasons why I have the word mad psychologist. I use it because I know that when people see it, it will catch their attention. When mad psychologists, because normally they use madness as they kind of say psychologists deal with mad people, they have stereotyped mad and stuff. So I just was like, it felt like me taking charge of that word again and putting it as something else. Mad is not you losing your mind, it's actually making a difference in people's life. But yeah, I've taken the word back. That's the reason, one of the reasons why I use the word mad. Yeah.
Okay. So if I want to book a section with a mad psychologist, how do I book a section with you?
For me, I
How
usually
do
have,
my audience see?
okay, on my official social media accounts, that's on Instagram and TikTok, I actually have a link for booking sessions. They can just click the link on it. That's on my Instagram is Moreni KG, and then on my TikTok is Psych Girl 01. Don't worry, don't mind the names. A Psych Girl 01. Then on LinkedIn, they can just send a DM. I didn't put a link on LinkedIn, so they can just send a link. Is Gbemisola Osoba on LinkedIn. They can just send a DM on that, and they can get to book. I'll send the link.
Okay, thank you so very much, ma'am, for your time, for being able to share your honest knowledge, your conversation, and we love your learnings and your experiences on how you are putting through to being a making a different psychologist. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome.
to podcast. So we've come to the end of the episode. Beyond the hustle, why mental health is non-negotiable for
Mhm.
women leaders. As a woman leader, entrepreneur, executive, professional that is watching this episode, I hope you are being convinced that and not being confused that your mental health is non-negotiable. The recorded video of this episode will also be uploaded on the Speak With Our podcast on YouTube. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for your time. So bye for now.
Bye.